All right, here we are with Chapter 2 review. What I want to do with you with this review is to incorporate the grammatical information we've learned about with the practice of reading a sentence in Latin. A couple of things to be thinking about. Word order in Latin does not indicate grammatical function. This is different from every single language that each of you have studied so far as I look through your survey results. In all of those languages, mostly the Romance languages, word order does actually indicate grammatical function, just like it does in English. In English, the first word in a sentence is usually the subject. But Latin does not use word order to show that kind of function. What Latin does use are the case endings. Okay, so case endings indicate grammatical function. This means that the words can be in different places in the sentence but still have the same function. It takes a little bit of getting used to, and reading Latin can then be very, very slow because you have to be very careful. You must identify the possibilities of a case based on the declension to which a noun belongs. And you must identify verbs by person, number, tense, mood, and voice. The subject of a verb will be nominative. That is the function of the nominative case. And it will agree with the verb in number. If the verb's a transitive verb, then what we call in English the direct object will be in the accusative case. So let's think about this sentence on the screen. Habent nautai rosas et aquam. If we take a look at habent, we can say, okay, this looks like a verb. It's a second conjugation verb, habeo, habere. It is third person, plural, present, indicative, and active. Those are the 5 ways we identify a verb: person, number, tense, mood, and voice. We also know about habeo, habere, that it is transitive. So we may very well get a direct object later in the accusative case. The next word is nautai. Nautai is a first declension noun. It's nominative and plural and masculine. Now remember, this is just Chapter 2 review, so we haven't had the other cases. We're only working with nominative and accusative. Because it's nominative, it must be the subject of the verb. That means that it must also agree with the verb in number. And so here we see it's nominative plural, and we see that the verb is plural. That's just great. Rosas is our next word. We know that it's a first declension, accusative, plural, feminine noun. Because it's accusative, and because we have a transitive verb, we know that it is the object of the transitive verb. Et is a conjunction. It joins 2 grammatically equal things. So we're either going to have a new subject or we're going to have a new object in the accusative. And we get aquam. Aquam is also a first declension noun, and it's accusative. It's singular and it's feminine. It is also the object of the transitive verb habent. When we consider all of the grammatical information that these nouns and this verb encode in their endings, the only translation we can come up with is the sailors, the subject, have, for habent, roses and water. Do you see how that works? It is a little laborious and slow, but it is really the best way to begin to learn to read Latin sentences. So let's try another sentence. You can see here, whoops, before we do that, I color-coded how things move around in Latin word order to English word order. All right, here's our next sentence. Dona agricola et nauta laudant. Dona agricola et nauta laudant. We look at dona, we can remember that it is a second declension noun. Now we have a bit of a problem as we look at this word, because that ending, a, on a second declension neuter noun can be nominative or accusative in the plural. So that word all by itself could be the subject of a verb or the object of a transitive verb. Now we're going to know which it is by the rest of the information in the sentence. Something else in the sentence is going to tell us that that word is either the subject or the object. It can't be both. The next word is agricola. Agricola is a first declension noun, and it can only be nominative with that short a. It's singular and it's masculine. It must be the subject of whatever verb is coming. What that information does for us when we look back and consider dona is that we can eliminate the nominative possibility. Dona then must be accusative. There is no conjunction between dona and agricola, so they must have different functions in the sentence. At is a conjunction, joins two grammatically equal things. Nauta is a first declension nominative singular masculine noun. So now we have two nominatives joined together by et. This makes a plural subject, right? A compound subject. Right? The dog and I, that's plural. So we're expecting now a plural transitive verb because we've had dona, our accusative, which will be the object of a transitive verb, and we have our compound subject, agricola et nauta. The next word we want is a transitive verb, and that's what it is, laudant, a first conjugation, third person plural, present indicative, active, transitive verb. Thus we can translate this as the farmer and the sailor praise the gifts. You can see here with the color coding, right, that the word order has to change when we put it into English, because English must show the subject of a sentence by placing it first in the sentence. Then we will put the verb next, and we'll usually put the object after the verb. Now, your book gives you multiple options for translating the present tense. This is because English has a number of different ways to show an action in the present, where Latin has only the one. So a valid translation for dona agricola et nauta laudant would also be the farmer and the sailor are praising the gift.